Operation Gold, the Berlin Tunnel, 1950s. At the height of Cold War paranoia, the CIA and Britain's MI6 embarked on a daring scheme, Operation Gold. The idea was simple, yet bold: dig a tunnel into East Berlin to tap Soviet phone lines and eavesdrop on military communications. For 11 months, the tunnel snaked beneath communist territory in secret, a marvel of Cold War engineering. But there was a catch. Unbeknownst to the CIA, British double agent George Blake had already informed the Soviets. They allowed the operation to continue, feeding misinformation and biding their time. When they finally discovered the tunnel in 1956, the press was shocked, but the Soviets had already gained the upper hand. Operation Gold became a textbook case in espionage failure. Despite its ambition, it highlighted the limits of secrecy and the vulnerability of even the most sophisticated plans. It was not just a failure of intelligence, but a reminder that betrayal can render even the grandest schemes hollow. In the great game of shadows, one leak can flood the tunnel, and history remembers who let the water in. What binds these stories together is not just secrecy, but silence. A silence enforced by power. A silence bought with blood. The CIA's legacy of coups and covert operations between the 1950s and 1980s reshaped the political landscape of entire continents. Democracies were dismantled. Dictators were propped up. And all of it was done not with the consent of the people, but in the name of the American flag. These missions were justified as battles against communism, but in reality, they were battles for control over oil, land, ideology, and influence. And while some of these operations are now acknowledged in declassified files, many remain shrouded in ambiguity, hidden behind redacted documents and historical amnesia. But history doesn't forget. The consequences of these interventions still echo today, in the instability of regions, in the mistrust of governments, in the resistance of people who refuse to be pawns. To uncover this past is to confront uncomfortable truths. And that's precisely why it must be told. Because if we don't understand how power operates in the shadows, we risk repeating these shadows in the future, this time with new names, new wars, and new victims. The truth is uncomfortable. But silence is far more dangerous.